Real.
Welcome to Straight Real, where I give it to you straight. I'm your host, King J. So, North Carolina just passed a new law which makes body cam footage on police officers off limits to the public. So that footage will no longer be public record. The Governor Pat McCrory, just signed that bill into law, and he actually calls this law transparent. And police officers are saying that this is not because they have something to hide. It's absolutely because they have something to hide. When I read about this story, I was curious to know what their excuse was to pass such a law like this. So basically, when I did more research on it, Governor Pat McCrory basically was saying with technology, we need to have rules and regulations. And we need some rules and regulations, whether, as opposed to no rules and regulations at all. So basically, also what he said is he's trying to protect those who protect us, which is interesting because he didn't say anything about protecting the general public. He said he's trying to protect police officers, which is exactly what's wrong with the system. He hit the nail on the head without even knowing it. The system is set up to protect police officers, which is exactly what he said. And that's something that people didn't catch and that people overlooked. He said that this law was designed to protect those who protect us. In other words, protect the police officers. I thought your job as a public servant was to protect the public. And that's also the police officer's job. Now, if you make body cam footage unavailable to the public, how is that protecting the public? And how is that being transparent? The Wake County Sheriff said that if they go into somebody's house and a woman doesn't have any clothes on or something like that, and it's a domestic situation, they don't want that being all over YouTube. I mean, which is a poor, lame excuse, because people block out stuff like that all the time on television. Before it hits the news or before it's released, you can always edit things out, such as that. I mean, I would want the whole video to be transparent, but something like that you can edit out before it's released. That's no problem. I mean, you can Photoshop and edit something like that out to make the video appropriate, of course. But that's no excuse to pass a law like this. So basically, the governor of North Carolina, which is my home state, passed this law in the wake of the shooting in Minnesota and in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, when the two unarmed black men were executed by these police officers. After this happens, he goes and runs and passes this bill, not to protect people from police brutality or from police killing them, but to protect police more, or to be able to hide things that police do. Because first of all, nowadays people are starting to see things that are happening, and they're starting to see these things on video. So they're trying to pass this law to be less transparent, so that people don't know what's going on, which is really what happened, what's been happening within the last really centuries since we've been in America. We didn't know what was going on behind the scenes because people didn't have smartphones and camera phones, and a lot of this stuff is starting to come to light, and they're trying to push it back into the shadows, which I think is really just despicable. So at this point, I think what people need to do is, if you see any signs of police abuse or brutality going on, pick up your smartphone and record it. Because if they want to pass this law, that's how we're going to counter it. Because the people are the ones who tell government what to do, not the other way around. Republicans and conservatives are so big on government imposing their will on people, and then they turn around and pass a law like this. I just think when you think about the mothers and fathers who lost their kids, even with body camera footage, they never got justice. Even when you see these things on video, they're never brought to justice. So my thing is this: it's like people always say, if you have nothing, if you have nothing to hide, then what's the problem? I mean, you should be able to be 100% transparent if you have nothing to hide. The only reason you would pass a law like this is because you know that the police are wrong and you don't want it to get out. You don't want people to see that. And this is just one of the outrageous, ridiculous laws that Governor Pat McCrory has passed since he's been in office, and took office in North Carolina as governor. And he really ought to be ashamed of himself, along with that Republican legislature, because he's taking this state back, I mean, almost 100 years, which North Carolina really was a progressive state at one point. Now it's gone way, way back. And this is just a perfect example of that. So in order for people to counter that, just make sure you pull out your smartphones and get video of any police brutality, because if they want to hide it, we're certainly not going to hide it. We're going to expose them for the liars that they are. And Pat McCrory is definitely a liar. I mean, passing something like this, saying that he wants to protect the police. And that's proof right there that nobody wants to protect young black men who are being killed by the police. I mean, the thing about it is this is what's outrageous about it. Young black men have been getting killed by police for years and years and years. We have an incident where police get killed, and all of a sudden all these new laws are being passed now. So why don't people take action when regular citizens get killed? Why isn't the same action taken? Action is only taken when police officers get harmed. You should take the same action if a regular citizen gets harmed, especially if you start to see a pattern from it. Just post your comments and let me know what you think about this law. I just think it's downright outrageous. And I think hopefully the Democrats can get back in office and get this law overturned. But I think with the technology that we have nowadays, and people with their smartphones and all the transparency that we do create, there's no way they're going to be able to hide this. You know, there's no way they're going to be able to lie their way out of anything, because somebody's going to see it and somebody's going to get it on video, and they're still going to continue to be exposed. So post your comments and let me know what you think. Until next time, peace.